All our viewers in Nigeria and around the world to News Cycle on Global TV, live in the nation's capital, Abuja. I am Queen Agaba. President Bola Tinubu says his administration will continue to implement more palliative measures to ease the cascading hardship occasioned by the discontinuance of petrol subsidy and the unification of the exchange rate, among other economic reforms. He also promised to place Nigeria on a path of irreversible progress shortly, adding that his administration will continue to implement palliative measures to ease the burden on the most vulnerable, address current hardships, and alleviate the sufferings of all Nigerians. The president, however, acknowledged that the past 6 months of his administration have been a time of transformation and relentless change in the country. Nobel laureate Professor Wole Soyinka has disclosed that President Bola Tinubu ignored his advice not to run for the nation's #1 seat. Speaking after his visit to the president in Lagos, where he's spending his vacation, Soyinka said he had offered the same counsel to former Vice President Atiku Abubakar in 2019. Uyi Agbomofuegbe completes the report.
My first visit? Well, actually, it's an embarrassing visit because when I visited him the last time, it was to try and persuade him not to run for office. I think I've written about that. I told Atiku and himself that they should please leave the grounds for young people. That was the last time we met about 5 years ago. And I call him secretly Olori Kunkun, a stubborn man. So he ignored my advice completely. So I came to see how he was doing after neglecting my advice. Wanted to see if both he and his wife were weathering Nigeria as well as can be expected, and to wish them a happy Christmas.
Professor Soyinka also stated that his personal principle places a demand on him to wait for 1 year before making public his assessment of any government, a practice he stated that he has maintained over time.
Well, you know, something you may have noticed about me that most heads of state, when they take office, I always leave them alone for about the first year. I don't know if you've seen that, if you've noticed that. Because they need, I know when they come in, they don't start from ground zero. They often start even lower than ground zero, and they have to make up. So I have this personal policy, whether it's Obasanjo or Buhari or Jonathan. You'll notice that during the first year, I hardly ever say anything. And then people ask me, why are you not talking? I say, go and ask the last person whether I spoke during the first year. So I'm adopting the same principle this year.
Uyi Agbomofuegbe reporting for Global TV News.
Matthew Kuka, the Catholic Bishop of Sokoto Diocese, has said that President Bola Tinubu has no excuses if his government fails to address the pressing issues facing Nigeria. Kuka, who stated this while delivering his Christmas message in Sokoto on Monday, noted that neither history nor God would forgive the president if he failed. The message tagged "Time to Reclaim Nigeria's Greatness" touched on unity, nation building, insecurity, politics, among others. He urged President Bola Tinubu to use his wealth of experience to end the ugly instrumentalization of religious, ethnic, or regional identities. However, Kuka argued that palliatives would not resolve Nigeria's problems, describing the problems as deep and structural. He also appealed to Nigerians to continue to have faith in the country and be hopeful. The National Drug Law Enforcement Agency and the National Orientation Agency have commended the efforts of the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission in combating corruption. Akwa Ibom State Director of the NOA, Nkwatum, gave the commendation during a recent courtesy visit to the state capital, Uyo Zonal Command of the EFCC. Speaking during the visit, the NOA director said there was a need for collaboration between the EFCC and the NOA towards improving the country's image and ensuring the Nigerians are proud to identify with their country as citizens. He also noted that no crime is small, noting that every degree of crime does damage to the reputation of the country. As Christians join the rest of the world to celebrate Christmas, President of the Senate, Godswill Akpabio, has called on Nigerians to remain steadfast and hopeful despite the hard times they are experiencing. According to Akpabio, Christmas calls for reflection on the teachings of Jesus Christ, which were anchored on love for neighbor, peaceful coexistence, and loyalty to constituted authorities. Akpabio, who advised Nigerians not to give up on their leaders, particularly the current government of President Bola Tinubu, said he is confident that with prayers and support, the current administration will wipe away tears in no distant time. And the Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, FCT, Nyesom Wike, has extended his Christmas greetings to all the residents of the Federal for the 2023 Christmas. The minister said the birth of Jesus Christ is a reminder and a call for love, compassion, and a renewal of the enduring gift of life. He then called on residents to be kind to others, share generously with those in need, and strive to be better humans. Wike reminded residents that the Federal Capital Territory, which is a microcosm of Nigeria's rich diversity, stands as a testament to the strength that comes from unity. Meanwhile, the chairman of Abuja Municipal Council area, Christopher Zaka Mekalango, has urged residents of the council to spread the gospel of love, tolerance, and peaceful coexistence as they joined Christians to celebrate. In his Christmas message to mark the 2023 Christmas celebration, Mekalango congratulated residents, particularly the Christians, on this spiritual occasion and remarked that the celebration calls for sober reflection, as well as emulating the exemplary life of Jesus Christ. He further charged the entire residents of the council to rededicate themselves to the service of God and humanity to make Nigeria a better place during and after the festive season. Similarly, Chairman of Kwali Area Council of the Federal Capital Territory in Abuja, Danladi Chia, has felicitated with Christians across Kwali Area Council as they celebrate the birth of Jesus Christ. The Kwali chairman stated this in a statement issued by his chief press secretary, Babangida Sarki. He called on Christians, particularly residents of Kwali, to show love to one another. The chairman, who is also the FCT Algon chairman, said Christians should scale down and be moderate in celebrating the Christmas, especially with the present economic meltdown. Chia appealed to wealthy individuals in the society to use the opportunity of the Yuletide season and put smiles on the faces of the less privileged by assisting them, affirming that there is, according to him, a silver lining in the sky. Indications have emerged that the death toll from assailants' attacks on some communities in Bokos and Barikin Ladi local government areas of Plateau State during the weekend has risen to 76. It was earlier reported on Sunday that no fewer than 16 persons were killed in Mushu village in Bokos local government area. The spokesperson for Operation Safe Haven, Captain Oya James, confirmed the incident, saying the attack took place on Saturday night while residents of the community were asleep. Following the attack, security personnel were deployed to prevent any breakdown of law and order in the area. There was uprising after the incident, but the situation was put under control. Meanwhile, it was gathered on Monday that the death toll had risen to 76. The Transition Implementation Committee Chairman of Bokos local government area, Monday Kasa, confirmed this, noting that the attacks on the two local government areas occurred on Saturday and lasted into Sunday. Kasa said the casualty figure was increasing and the corpses were still being recovered by security agents, vigilantes, and hunters combing the forest for missing persons. The council boss noted that several houses were burnt by the assailants, who also went away with farm produce belonging to the residents. Meanwhile, Governor Caleb Mufwang condemned the attack, describing the attack as barbaric, brutal, and uncalled for. A statement by his Director of Press and Public Affairs, Gyang Bere, said the governor directed security agencies to promptly apprehend the perpetrators responsible for the heinous act and ensure they face the full wrath of the law. Bere said the governor expressed deep concerns over the incident, urging communities to remain vigilant and report suspicious activities to security forces for immediate action. The statement added on the importance of collective collaboration among rural communities. The governor assured that proactive measures would be taken by the government to curb ongoing attacks on innocent citizens. Meanwhile, some poultry farmers in Buhari Area Council of the Federal Capital Territory on Monday in Abuja decried the incessant rise in the cost of poultry feeds. They also groaned over low patronage in the sale of birds in the market. The farmers expressed their concerns and called on producers and suppliers to consider a reasonable intervention. One of the farmers stated that although poultry farming was a profitable business that involved a lot of capital, it had, however, suffered setbacks at the point of sales, urging various farmers associations as well as other stakeholders to intervene and assist in finding a lasting solution to the challenges with the hope of easing the plight of farmers. And Abia State Governor Alex Oti has urged Nigerians to exercise patience with the economic policies initiated by President Bola Tinubu, expressing optimism that positive changes are on the horizon. Speaking in Lagos on Sunday after paying a Christmas visit to the president, Governor Oti noted that the present administration inherited a challenging economic landscape. Uyi Agbomofuegbe has the rest of the story.
He came in at a very difficult time when inflation was close to 30%. The debt, national debt, almost $40 billion. And then unemployment close to 33.3%. Then the management of the economy at that time was also a big challenge with almost 24 trillion naira printed, what is described as ways and means. So anyone that understands how the economy works will agree that it's a very difficult challenge.
Governor Oti highlighted issues such as surging inflation, a substantial debt profile, and high unemployment rates that President Tinubu faced on taking office. He added that the president has been very courageous, unifying the exchange rates and removing fuel subsidy, which had become a scam and costing the nation a lot of money.
One thing is that he has been very courageous, unifying the exchange rate and then removing petroleum subsidy, which actually had become a scam and costing us a lot of money. So those policies are good, but then they come with their negative sides. They come with challenges for an economy where over 60% of the population are living below the poverty line. So it's not going to be easy immediately, but I believe that if we are patient and if we go through the policies without compromising, that over time things will turn around.
The Abia State Governor, however, stated that consistency in the manner in which government's policies are driven is key in turning the nation's tide around for the better. Uyi Agbomofuegbe, reporting for Global Television News.
The deputy spokesman of the House of Representatives, Mr. Philip Agbese, has called on Nigerians to continue to pray for President Bola Tinubu and the National Assembly to enable them to succeed in the task of delivering services to the nation. Agbese, in a special message to mark Christmas, noted that the Bible teaches Christians to pray for people in authority at all times. In a statement on Monday to commemorate Christmas, Agbese added that the prayers of the people availeth much, adding that rather than murmuring, criticizing or castigating the people in power, as Christians we are taught to always pray for our leaders and people in positions of authority. And it is only when the leader has peace of mind that he can settle down for the business of governance and administration. The Nigerian Governors Forum, NGF, has countered claims that crisis is rocking its secretariat over alleged financial misconduct. The NGF confirmed that the allegations of fraud raised by its Director of Media and Public Affairs, Abdulrazak Barkindo, are already being investigated by the police. The forum, in a statement by its Director Legal, Chijoke Chukwu, on Monday, described a letter attributed to Barkindo as inflammatory and misguided allegations. Barkindo, in the letter addressed to the forum's chairman and Kwara State Governor, Abdulrahman Abdulrazak, alleged that the NGF is running an agenda contrary to that of improving the lives and livelihoods of the populace at the sub-national level. You're watching the news cycle live from Nigeria's capital, Abuja. We're on Star Times, channel 276. Kindly follow us on all social media platforms using @GlobalTVNG and other handles now showing on your screen. When news cycle returns, oil revenue crashes by 289.6 billion naira as output falls. The news continues shortly with details of this and more stories right after this break. Please stay with us. This is Global Television bringing you live broadcast of the news cycle. Thank you for staying with us. Kaduna State Governor Senator Uba Sani on Monday felicitated with Christians on the occasion of Christmas with a call on Nigerian leaders to shun greed, corruption and oppression of the poor. The governor, in a Christmas message, urged Christians to use the festive period as a moment of sober reflection and imbibe the value of lesson of the season, which includes charity, peace, and kindness to mankind, regardless of differences. He also said the state government was working in tandem with the federal government to mitigate the challenges of insecurity in the state. The governor, through his chief press secretary, Mohammed Lawal Shehu, maintained that his administration would leave any stone unturned in the efforts to heal the wounds of the past. The National Drug Law Enforcement Agency, NDLEA, command in Cross River says a total of 2.5 tons of hard drugs were seized from drug peddlers between January and December in the state. The state commander, Rachel Umeboali, disclosed this in an interview in Calabar on Monday. Umeboali, who is also the commander of narcotics, disclosed that 223 suspects were arrested in connection with the seizure made in the year under review, while noting that the suspects included 22 females and 201, males. The commandant listed the seized hard drugs as cannabis, cocaine, heroin, and psychotropics. On the foreign scene, at least a dozen schools in the provinces of Yala and Naratiwat have been forced to close, while footage from the region showed homes and shops inundated with murky brown waters and residents taking refuge on upper floors. Flood caused by intense rainfall have affected tens of thousands of people in Thailand's deep south. On Monday, with some roads and railway lines forced to close. The heavy rains have also caused problems at sea, with at least 7 boats sunk in the Gulf of Thailand and Andaman Sea since Friday. In business now, Nigeria lost about 289.6 billion naira crude oil revenue in November 2023. Following a plunge in the country's oil output last month when compared to what it pumped in the preceding month of October. An analysis of the country's latest crude oil production figures obtained from the Nigerian Upstream Petroleum Regulatory Commission in Abuja showed that Nigeria produced 41,867,775 barrels of crude, excluding condensates, in October. But this plunged to 37,508,971 barrels in November, representing a decline of 4,358,804 barrels when matched against what the country produced in October. The average price of Brent, the global benchmark for crude, in November 2023 was $82.94 per barrel, according to Country Economy, an international statistical firm. And the Nigerian Liquefied Natural Gas Ship Management Limited has said that over 800 Nigerian seafarers are on board its international sea-going vessels. The managing director of NSML, Abdul Kadir Ahmed, said this in Lagos during the induction of 50 cadets sponsored by the Nigerian Maritime Administration and Safety Agency for the completion of their cadetship and award of certificates of competency. He added that the seafarers were trained to the best standards where they could compete with other seafarers in the world. And that's it on Global TV News Circle. We're on StarTimes channel 276. Kindly follow us on all social media platforms using @GlobalTVNG and other handles now showing on your screen. I'm Queen Agaba. Thank you for watching and see you again.